Yoga gives me the time and space to sit with my emotions and deal with my shit.
Yeah. A lot of teachers can fall into the trap of, I need to work more to earn more, which is complicated because you only have one body and your body has a limit.
I need to keep time for myself to practice, but at the same time, I want yoga to be accessible to everyone.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I thought it would be nice to interview one of my beautiful yogi colleagues here at Animo Studios, Victoria, and just have a conversation about what it's like being a yoga teacher, some things that she wished she had known before starting this job, and some things that she's only learned from teaching. And I want to link to all of the resources that we mentioned in the description box below. And I think it's nice if you are interested in pursuing this also as a job, or just, entertaining it as a hobby, just some things that you may not know that you don't know. So, without further ado, I will introduce Victoria.
So my name is Victoria. Some people call me Mula, which actually means butterfly in Lakota. So it's like a dead language that we used to speak.
Wow.
So it means butterfly.
It also means friendly in Czech.
Really?
Mila. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
In Slavic languages.
And so I'm a yoga teacher. I'm also an entrepreneur because I have a yoga accessory brand.
Wonderful. And what do you make there?
I make yoga mats. I try to be as sustainable as possible, of course. So they're biodegradable, they're recyclable, they're made out of natural rubber. So rubber is actually something that comes out of trees. Mm-hmm. So no toxic chemicals are used to make them. They're just like yogi's best friend because they're non-slippery, grippy, they're amazing. Also blocks or yoga towels that you can use for hot yoga and stuff.
Super cool.
Travel mats, a bit of everything. And I also have an online yoga platform.
I will link to all of it in the description box below if you all are interested in following Victoria and her journey, and if you want to practice with her online. So just check the description box for all of the details. So for our first question, what kind of yoga styles do you teach currently, and what drew you to those styles?
So I think it's half and half. But the yoga style I really love to teach is Vinyasa, so also known as flow. Yay, Vinyasa teachers.
Yes.
I love it because it kind of invites me to get creative. So I love to go to other people's classes because then I really learn different transitions, different kind of, actually just different poses, because we used to when we do our training, we just learn the more classical and basic poses. But then there were so many creative ways to go from one pose to the other. Yes. It's so nice to turn around on the mat. Sometimes I make my students face the back of the mat and stuff, and I love that. Yeah. So I love teaching Vinyasa, but I also teach hot yoga. So it's actually basically Bikram yoga.
So for those who aren't aware, what's the difference between a Vinyasa class and a hot yoga class?
So a hot yoga class, first of all, it's hot in the class. It's quite warm. So it can go until 44 degrees, Celsius degrees, 40% of humidity. So you're sweating as hell. I was really skeptical about hot yoga before, but then I did the training and I really, really felt the benefits of hot yoga because we had to practice every morning at 7:30 in the morning for 90 minutes, every day for 14 days. And my skin was amazing, my digestion got amazing. At the beginning I was feeling quite dizzy during the classes, but then with practice it actually became so much easier. And what I love about hot yoga, so that's also the difference between Vinyasa and hot yoga, is that it's a pre-written sequence. So you start with a breathing exercise, you end with a breathing exercise, and in between both you have 26 poses that you do, and it's always the same sequence. So it's kind of as Ashtanga, as in the way that it's a pre-written sequence. So you do a hot yoga in Belgium or in Asia or in the US, it's always going to be the same sequence. And I love it because it gives you a kind of something to compare yourself to, which can be quite bad for ego, but which can actually help you to let go of that ego and just realize that every day is different, every practice is different, and what you could do yesterday you might not be able to do today, and that's actually the beauty of hot yoga.
Yes. And I wanted to add on to that as well. It's really nice to have something, as you said, that's consistent, because things can happen outside of your practice. Things do happen, life happens, you have family, you have work obligations, all of that. And so it's nice to have a benchmark of, okay, just because I was able to do this one day and I'm not able to do it necessarily today, doesn't mean that I'm any worse off now. It's just, it's a nice kind of constant to have. And every day is going to be different, and to take it as, you know, kind of leaning into those changes that happen naturally.
And when you have that like line, I mean, because it's always the same sequence, then you can really like confront all of your changes and really realize that everything is always, always, always different.
Yes, yes.
Even if you're a hot yoga teacher, like in so many classes that I go to as a student, oh my gosh, I'm like almost dying.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is like it doesn't ever get easier necessarily.
Not necessarily, no. Some days will be easier, but maybe it's because of what you ate, what you didn't eat, or whatever. And so it's...
Or even just how present you can be on the mat.
Yes. Maybe with hot yoga, you have that heat and the really hot room that gives you an extra challenge. And actually the only thing you have to focus on if you want to go through the class, if I may say that so, is just to focus on the heat.
Yes.
Just breathe through the heat and just focus on that. And the rest is just like decoration.
So on that note, when you're giving a class, if we were to have this as, you know, a tip for a potential teacher out there, where do you draw your inspiration for your classes? You said that you like to attend other teachers' classes. Is there somewhere, you know, out in the world, or maybe that you read something, when you are building your flow for a class? A lot of students I know come up to me and they say, I don't even know where to begin if I wanted to construct something for someone. So do you present it around a theme, around a pose? How do you go about planning a class?
So when I really started teaching, I wrote everything down like we thought us to do, like 1 or 2 peak poses, and then you just build up towards that pose, and then you chill down. And then just with experience, with my 5-6 years, with my life as a yoga teacher and my experiences, I really understood that there were so many different ways of teaching and so many inspiration everywhere. So first of all, I really love to attend other people's classes, especially flow classes.
Yes.
To me, it's at the same time a challenge because you don't know what's happening next. And so you're just like, oh my God, sometimes I'm like, it's so hard. I want to go home and sleep. And as when I go to a hot yoga class, I know what's coming up. So it's like, sometimes it's less challenging to go to a hot yoga class. So attending someone else's vinyasa class is amazing because I get so many ideas, and I really love that. So first of all, going to other people's classes.
Yes.
Most important part, really. And then I'm a forever student. So I try to do a lot of trainings. I actually subscribe to so many online programs and platforms of yoga teachers.
Yes.
Because it's so easy. If you like people from all over the world, well, then you can just like check out some videos. I go on YouTube.
I was going to say, YouTube is a wonderful resource.
Yeah, exactly.
There's free,
I mean,
you know,
so many stuff.
No cost to entry.
So many stuff. Yeah. But I would say usually it's practicing with other teachers, training, a lot of trainings. Yeah, just other people that are a little bit more specialized in maybe anatomy, movement and stuff, so that I really understand why would I do those poses before doing that one, or which one should I do before, after, etc., etc.
Yes.
So that I would say is my most inspiration, but then also spending a lot of time on my mat on my own. And just like I put music on and I try to, and on my earpods, because so I really feel like I'm like in my own world, and then I just free flow. I have something to write onto, and then I just write down the movements or the sequences that I did.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to mention as well, Victoria said that she's teacher and entrepreneur. And I wanted to ask your opinion if you find that this is a common combination, because some people who may be interested in pursuing this as work may dive into it completely headfirst and say, okay, I'm just going to teach yoga full time. And I think that that is a wonderful pursuit. It's a wonderful motivation. It's a very fulfilling work path because you see immediately the results of your labor. People leave smiling, they're more relaxed, and you have a direct impact on positively affecting their day, which is wonderful. All good things. However, and I want to hear your 2 cents, I think that a lot of teachers can fall into the trap of, I need to work more to earn more, which is complicated because you only have one body and your body has a limit. So what would be your tips, or if you see this is also a common issue, what would be your tips for potentially new teachers in avoiding this kind of burnout, in finding a way to continue to make a living, but also having time for their own practice and time to just rest when they need it?
Well, I would say that, so what you actually just pinpoint is leaving time for your own practice. Because I also started, I don't know you, but when I started teaching yoga, I went all the way down, teaching so many hours a week. I loved it because, as you say, like you have so much. They give you so much back and it feels so fulfilling, but at the same time it's so exhausting because I started every day at 7 in the morning, I was at home at 22 at night, 10 p.m. at night, and you have like maybe 1 or 2 hours in between somewhere where you cannot really like teach, you cannot really practice for yourself, you're tired, and then the classes you want to attend are at the same hours than the classes you're supposed to teach.
And that's even if you have it in the same studio, let alone if you're going to many different studios or if you are commuting to do a private lesson somewhere, so you also have to factor in commute time. So if you have, the luck to have it all in one studio, then you can knock out 6 classes in a row, but it's not often the case.
No, it's not often the case at all. And so I used to be like waking up super early, going to bed late. I had no social life. I had no time to practice. And I was all the time in my car, all the time. It was actually kind of exhausting after a year and a half or 2 years. So I had to take a little break. I was traveling a little and then teaching a bit less yoga classes. But I was like, okay, I love what I do. I would like to keep time for my students in real life.
Yes.
I need to keep time for myself to practice. But at the same time, I want yoga to be accessible to everyone. And so I've been thinking about creating like a yoga platform or an app for a long time. And it didn't work out because life happened. And then COVID hit. And so I just started teaching on Instagram every morning during the entire lockdown, a live class on Instagram every morning, 30 minutes. And I wanted to take people with me in my morning yoga routine. And so I did that for almost 3 months, every single day.
Sundays even?
Yes, Saturday, Sunday, every day, 30 minutes. I promised my community that I was going to do that, and I did. And it worked quite well. I mean, people were super happy to do that. So if I could give some tips before heading headfirst into teaching yoga, it would be to definitely take 2 days off, complete days off. It's so hard, or at least like if you really have to teach, because you usually teach during weekends. At the beginning, people are like, no, I'm not going to teach during weekends. But then, of course, you have a lot of requests for weekends, so it's actually quite nice. But so I would say at least 1 full day off, and if you can, like 2 half days where you can really like have your weekend actually off. At least 1 complete day, really.
Do the things you gotta do.
Exactly. And just
groceries,
chill,
cleaning, chill.
And
stare at the wall.
Exactly. So that would be the first. Then the second, what I actually love doing is that I kind of organize my schedule of the classes I was teaching around the classes I wanted to attend.
Smart.
So I was like, okay, I want to go to hot yoga on Wednesday morning, then I'm not going to teach on Wednesday mornings, you know? And so I try to plug my schedule depending on the classes that are really important to me and on the teachers I want to attend the classes of.
Yes. That's a really good point as well, because it's very easy, as we were saying, to get caught in this kind of hamster wheel of teaching more to earn more. But as well, that's kind of means that you will stagnate, that you won't progress as a teacher, because as you said, you have to be forever student. If you're going to continue to give to your students and to progress your practice and to progress your knowledge, you need to take time to continue to practice on your own and to pursue these kinds of trainings and certifications outside. Otherwise, your practice will get kind of stale. And then your students will sense that, and you won't be as excited to teach, and it will just kind of go down. So not only is it necessary for your body to take time off, but also to continue to foster that spark that led you to the work in the first place.
So now I have like that little ritual. I love to come earlier to class. I usually have a kind of class already planned in my head.
Nice.
But then I take at least 15 minutes with a cup of coffee. It's during if it's during the morning or at noon, and then I just write my entire flow down.
Beautiful.
If I can, I do it like physically as well. Then I write everything down. But that's really like that has been my lifesaver for now. Because then if I have no idea for a class or I didn't have the time to prepare a class, then I just open my little notebook and then I just follow a class that I already taught.
Yes.
So that's also actually a lifesaver. I used for a long time like to not prepare my classes at all. And it was nice, but then I felt like I'm kind of probably doing always the same thing. Maybe what is like my focus point, as you said, like, you know, do you have a peak pose or do you have a theme, etc. So it's actually always kind of different, but now I always have like a guideline during my class.
Yeah. Okay, and the last two questions I wanted to ask Victoria was, first, how has your yoga practice, whether your personal practice or becoming a yoga teacher, impacted other areas of your life?
Oh my gosh.
Or how is it maybe not impacted? There's so many ways, I guess.
Well, it did so much.
Okay.
So much. Like, I always say like yoga literally saved my life because it really helped me to deal with my emotions. Like I'm hypersensitive, sensible?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
sensitive. And I always say like, yoga gives me the time and space to sit with my emotions and deal with my shit.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
That's spot on.
I don't know, sometimes you have no words to like express whatever you're feeling or experiencing, or you have no one to talk to because they don't really understand or whatever. And like my yoga mat has just become that place where I can really like get my shit together and at least just take the moment to really just feel all of the feelings and to just like live with them and accept them and just observe them. It really helped in my everyday life just to deal with first emotions, but then also with anxiety, with stress, also dealing with relationships, just family, friendship, love relationships.
Yeah.
It really helped me to be more tolerant, more patient, more resilient at some point. And because I always say like that my yoga mat is the mirror of my life.
Yeah.
And so the way I act or react on my yoga mat is actually exactly the way I would do that in my daily life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't know if you had that, but like you're in a posture and you're just like, oh my God, I feel so angry because it's maybe a posture that makes you go a bit further away or outside of your comfort zone, etc. And so it's actually, it actually helped me to get to know myself better, where my limits, where can I like broaden them out or where should I put them a little closer.
Yeah. So on that, if someone's listening and they say, okay, that sounds amazing, you know, how could I have some of that? How could I take that piece as well? If there are a few maybe like coping strategies or maybe pranayamas or something from yoga that that have helped you achieve that?
I would say first consistency.
Okay.
And so when I started, just before doing my teacher training, I was maybe practicing for a year or so. So I was going to a studio 3-4 times a week. But then I incorporated a little mini morning routine, like 10 minutes. It was just like 5 sun salutations, maybe some sun salutations B, and then always an inversion. I always say an inversion a day to keep the doctor away.
Inversion is when your head is below your heart. So it could be something like handstand, or it could be as simple as downward facing dog, anything where you have your upside down.
Exactly. And so just watching life from another perspective really helps actually. And in the morning I was like, wow, and it gave me so much energy. Yeah. And it only takes like 10 minutes of your day, like to do like just a little baby sequence. And I created the one that suited me. But I think that it can be 5 minutes, it can be 2 minutes, but just like consistency. Every day the same. So as we said with hot yoga or practices where it's like a pre-written sequence, it actually gives you that kind of repère again, like that. How did you say?
It's the reference point.
Exactly, a reference point. Because when you wake up in the morning and you're just like, okay, like I feel super sore, I feel super like tired. Well, then you actually already have that level of energy you are starting your day with. And so you know, maybe, okay, I'm super tired today. Maybe I should slow down a little bit for today. Maybe I had a big day ahead. Can I cancel some stuff? Can I, you know, like... So that was, I would say, consistency, but then Ujjayi breath.
Sounds like an ocean.
Yeah, it's soothing.
Like a little, it's a kind of as if you were to breathe on a mirror or something, but you do that as you inhale and exhale with your mouth closed through your nose. So
you kind of pinch your throat. And so when you pinch the throat, well, the air cannot come as fast all at once into your lungs. So your breath, your intakes and outtakes are going to be slower, longer, steadier, and I don't know, it feels like so good, soothing, and it really helps, like concentration, calm, inner calm. But then also, I don't know why, but I feel like the breath comes from the inner power like that, and I feel so more powerful.
Yes.
I do that when I'm stressed in my car. I do that when I do any other sports, anywhere, anytime actually.
Yes. And I think that there's maybe not for those who are watching who want to become yoga teachers, but I think that there can be a misconception that yoga is only stretching. Which already has many benefits for the body. I mean, don't get me wrong, stretching should be included, I think, in everyone's daily routine. But yoga, as Victoria is describing so beautifully, is so much more than just the asana practice, than the physical practice. You can take away breathing techniques, you can take away mantras, different things to just check in with your body and your mind and have that time for yourself that can help you, whether you are an athlete or just a normal office worker.
Yeah.
Exactly. We all need some coping mechanisms to deal with the stresses of daily life. And especially if you practice another physical activity, whether it's, golf or Ironman, or if you like running, there are things that you can take from the yoga practice that can help you maybe push further or just be more present in your body so that you avoid burnout or you avoid injury. Just be present and there with yourself through these activities.
Yes, and really like that Ujjayi breath. I really felt the difference when I used my Ujjayi breath and my Mula bandha and Uddiyana bandha.
I have a video on that, people. I will link to down below.
Seriously, it changed. Like I was skiing and I was like, wow, no, I'm flying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. On my horse, like I'm like, wow.
But it's all within you. It's all in your body.
It's crazy.
It's wonderful.
And we should actually just learn that in any sports, because I think that if we have breath, if we have that consciousness of whatever is happening inside those bandhas or inside of your body, you can. Everything is like lifted up with you. You know what I mean? Like everything feels so lighter, so easier, so more flowy.
And I think as well with other sports, for example, it's very easy to find your comfortable discomfort, meaning that there's maybe one thing that you practice that you really enjoy, whether it's working out in a gym, or maybe you like kettlebell training or running, and you can push yourself, but you get kind of used to that kind of difficult. And after some time, if you're honest with yourself, it becomes kind of comfortable. Even though you're pushing yourself and you're sweating, you are familiar with that kind of pain. And I find that in an asana practice, the pain or discomfort comes from a different way, in that when you're stable, everything in your body can be shaking, but it's the difficulty to calm your mind from all the bullshit that's coming in of, I have to send that email, or I have to remember to buy milk, or
I hate that pose.
Or I hate that pose, exactly. Like, when is she going to say we can go transition to the next one? And yes, your body is suffering or it's challenged, but the difficult part is actually to be present in the face of discomfort and say, okay, even if we sit here for another 10 minutes, how can I breathe through it? How can I
find comfort in the discomfort?
Exactly. And so having something, I think, like that, where it challenges you outside of your comfort zone, as you said, is invaluable.
And so that actually links the question from before, like how has yoga impacted your outside life? Because like now when I'm dealing with an uncomfortable just daily life situation, professionally, personally, whatever, I'm just like, okay, I know these too shall pass. I know it. Like it's not going to stay there forever. Yeah. So if I just hold on to that discomfort, it will get worse. Like, can I let go a little bit of it and try to find at least a little bit more comfort in the discomfort, and then it actually flows way easier. Yeah, it's the same as in asana and physical practices.
Yes. Thank you everybody so much for joining. I hope that we answered any questions you could have had about becoming a yoga teacher. If we left anything out in this discussion, maybe we'll do a part 2. So just leave them in the comments down below. We'd be happy to answer them. Or if there are enough, we can always put together a second part. As I said, I will link to all of Victoria's socials and her channel also in the description box below if you want to follow her journey. She's a wonderful teacher, and I have the pleasure of teaching with her here at Animo.
I have the pleasure of teaching with her.
So thank you all so much. Wishing you a beautiful and calm rest of your day. And we'll see you back here very soon.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Victoria. Ciao, everybody.